Welcome back to yet another episode of EastEnders Weekly Podcast, where we discuss the British soap EastEnders every week.
On a podcast?
We do. And we are discussing the episodes that were broadcast between the 18th and the 22nd of November.
That's right. We must mention also one other thing.
What's that?
We're officially unofficial.
Very officially unofficial.
Just, it's the legal part then. We have to make sure it gets snuck in there somewhere. We might just drop it in the middle of the show for future reference. We won't say it at the beginning. We'll keep it guessing. It's like Where's Wally, but a statement rather than a person.
I mean, one thing I've noticed this week on EastEnders, tell me if you've noticed it too, and what your opinion is. But does it seem very dark on set this week?
Yeah, you've been complaining about that a lot all week, and it's not something that's particularly offended me.
Not offended, but have you noticed? All
Not
the sets
really,
are dark.
because it's winter. Winter is coming, Mr. Snow, and it's going to be darker, isn't it? The evenings draw in dark.
No one's got their lights on.
Well, they have, but they can't afford it. No one can
dark.
afford the electricity bills anymore. They're far too high.
Well, Kathy's got a foot spa on.
Well, she
can
has,
afford
but
that.
no other lights, so she's using the
The
generator.
electricity of Wolford.
Yeah. She's put 10p in the meter just so she can have bubbles in her bath.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think there was a new director this week because there was like some different shots we saw outside the cafe window, and obviously things a bit darker and a bit more moody. One thing that was at the end of the week, Martin's like montage of music and drinking rum, made me laugh. I don't think it was meant to make me laugh, but I did think, oh, don't like it.
It was meant to be a bit tense, but
Was it?
I don't think, I like the way that he didn't have to ask for another drink. First we just gestured, just a little nod, a little finger here, and then he just took the bottle and drank it.
Kind of looked like a Western. Was it going for that sort of feel, maybe?
Oh,
I'm not really
no,
sure.
not a spaghetti Western.
Well,
no.
between Ben and
Well, they have a
Martin.
shootout in the middle of Bridge Street.
Yeah.
Bridge Street is incredibly empty at night now.
Once Kathy's Cafe closes, that's dead.
Nowhere else to go, is there really? It's just the Vic. But what they need to make the cafes a 24-hour cafe again, and make it a bit, maybe
That's
a
true.
kebab shop.
Kathy
or
doesn't
something.
work enough, to be fair.
Kathy's kebabs. She could have that foot spa behind the desk. No one would know.
Yeah.
She can just lean toward the teapot.
Share it with Marie.
Yeah. Well, no, Marie can work around her. She just stands at the till and takes the money, while the spa gently massages her precious little feet. I bet her feet are really young. I bet there's not a wrinkle. Not a wrinkle inside.
Oh, there's not a wrinkle anywhere, not even her neck.
No calluses, no dry skin. She uses that emery board and screws right down into her heels.
Before we get on to our discussion about the week's episodes, we are going to discuss a little rumour, which is the Christmas schedule. Not confirmed, but it's slightly alarming-ish, or a bit weird.
Our friends at Wolford Central posted this on Twitter. I recommend you follow them. It's at Wolford Sennet, CEN net. And yeah, it's an unconfirmed schedule for Christmas Day in the UK for the episodes of EastEnders. And
Very late.
a very late one. I mean, you have to understand that a lot of people in the United Kingdom do like to have a few drinks on Christmas Day. And by about 10 o'clock, you're fast asleep with...
Well, by 8 o'clock it's getting there, getting a bit iffy, but 10...
Especially you're old like us. We've got our slippers on and our pipes. We've got our feet in the foot spa and we're ready to go to sleep.
10:30?
Well, yeah, so basically the first showing...
Be watching on iPlay on Boxing Day.
Yeah. So don't expect live tweets on that night. EastEnders has been split into two, which I don't remember them doing that last year.
No, they have done it in the past.
But yeah, last year was an hour-long episode, the famous Alfie being pushed down the stairs episode.
Oh, yes.
Because
such consequences.
The paternity was found out. This is another paternity story this time, I suppose. Yeah. So 9 o'clock in the UK, and then 10:30 is the second showing after Gavin and Stacey. I mean, we all know there's a lot of Gavin and Stacey fans out there. Personally, and again, don't at me. I'm not one of them, but I probably will watch it.
I won't.
Well, what are you going to do then?
Watch EastEnders.
You can fall asleep. Well, you can't watch EastEnders.
I watch the same episode 3 times.
Yeah, super analyse it. You do a special live Christmas Day episode. Talking to the fans.
I'll put a little box on and I'll watch it with people online.
There you go. So look forward to that on Christmas Day on our schedule at 9:30. If you're not a fan of Gavin and Stacey, Ben will be live doing a special EastEnders episode. Although we cannot confirm that just yet.
Very interesting. Maybe there'll be nudity, sex and violence at
That's
that
just
time.
the podcast.
Yeah, me live on Christmas Day.
Ben, we're always talking about these ideas. Last week we said nipples were going to be shown. Is there going to be tassels attached?
Well, people
to
didn't
your
want your nipples, so
No.
that's been cancelled.
They've obviously not seen my beautiful nipples.
But people might want my sex, violence. What's the other thing I said? Bad language.
Oh, I'd love a bit of swearing. It'll be like a Hollywood Lake.
Cow.
Yeah. EastEnders Weekly late. Come join us for the violence.
Right, so let's start on with our review of the week. Last week I loved it. It was all heightened and ridiculous and stupid and camp. This week I felt the aftermath of the demise of Mel Owen has been a little bit sort of forgotten, and things have just moved on to an odd week of like storylines I don't really care about, and the ones that they are there seem silly to me.
Yeah, it was a filler, wasn't it, this week? Filler like Kathy's
Which it
face.
shouldn't be. This time of year, we're building up to Christmas. It should be revving up and getting me all excited, but no. The biggest thing I took away from the week was Kathy's foot spa.
This is the thing, isn't it? It's like it doesn't seem to be building to anything at Christmas, and it's a really strange approach they're taking this year for Christmas. Last year, I'm fairly certain the Christmas choir storyline was starting, that Ian and reminiscing about his family, because we were laughing that he was preparing his vegetables like 2 weeks in advance. And, there was a build-up developing slowly over the Slater's family, and yet that doesn't seem to be the case.
Killing Mel off seems to have like stopped it dead, literally, dead in the road. But it seems to have just been like, oh, that's that, like, no, there's no peril now. Sharon's chilling out.
Yeah, well, she's been found scot-free, hasn't she? She got some vital information
That'll
from Jack.
make Lisa look a bit silly.
Well, this is it. This is what they're doing again, isn't it? They're making the story about everyone thinking that Lisa's going gaga again, and it's worrying for me, because they're making Lisa this strong character the whole time.
Yeah, and then no one believing her.
And no one's believing her, and it's almost just doing the same again, where I think eventually it may develop that Lisa will then slowly demise back into this squandering this situation where her mental state is again starting to crumble because no one's believing her. For the first time in her mental state where she is telling the truth about something, and no one actually is believing her about it.
I hope they don't, because that like just sounds like what they just did to Mel, and it makes like Mel's death really pointless if they're just going to do that with Lisa. But I mean, Louise is quick enough to not believe her mum like straight away.
Yeah, but Louise goes wherever the designer gear follows, isn't it? So I'm sure when she went to see her dad and Phil was like, "Don't worry, I'll sort this out," she thought, yeah, and then I can move back in with you and have the life of luxury that I always wanted.
But I mean, we did have Sharon in her grieving grey hoodie, sweats. And she was a bit upset, but she still had her nails done and her eyelashes on.
Oh yeah, priorities.
Even though she's not leaving the house.
Of course not. I mean, she's always wanted it cleaner.
But she had no eyeshadow.
No. Oh yeah, she wasn't gonna rub it in.
And the hair wasn't blow dried, so.
Of course, yeah. There's being sassy and there's just being a bit arrogant. And I think that she knew that fine line that only Sharon knows of where not to take it too far.
But Lisa obviously is going around telling everyone that Sharon's a murderer, like thinking she's Peggy Mitchell at Den Watts' funeral, if that's a reference for anyone. But it turns out, like, I quite liked how they were all gossiping as well, like around the square about what happened. So that was quite nice.
Yeah.
Like, people did remember that Mel died.
A few people toasted to Mel this week. There was the Witches of Eastwick inside the Vic.
4 random characters. Literally the most randomest characters they could have hand-picked out of a box. To toast Mel.
Yeah, it would have made nicer sense if Lisa had maybe walked in and then they made the toast, and so Lisa was involved a little bit, and it might have made Lisa feel more confident to kind of get a supporting group for her to maybe kind of encounter Phil and let him kind of push him into questioning the paternity of her baby.
But it was odd because it was Karen, Honey, Sonia, and Tina. It's like, have they ever shared a scene with Mel ever?
No, not really.
And like, we could have had Kat, because Kat and Mel had a bit of friendship. They worked at E20 together.
And they had that conversation as well where she supported her.
We had Billy, Jack, Lisa. They could have had a toast.
Jack did toast.
Yeah,
Mel.
like 5 days later.
It was a nice little silent toast up to the heavens to himself.
We didn't even get like Jack's reaction to Mel dying either.
Well,
like,
we did.
Like, late.
Yeah, well, that's the story with him and Denise, because there was a lot of grieving at the Branning household, and Denise didn't really know how to cope with it because both Jack and Amy were very upset. Yeah. Amy's lost her third mother.
Well, Amy probably thinks if I let Denise in, she's going to end up in a coffin.
No, because she did say to Denise, like, I don't care about you.
Oh yeah, she ran up.
Denise said, "Don't worry, darling. I'm not. When I'm not leaving." He said, "I don't care about you." Pushed her out the way and got back out from under these stairs.
So that toast was a bit weird. So that didn't really hit anything for me. Like the whole Mel dying seems to be a bit of like a joke around the square, which is really odd.
I don't think it's a joke. I just think
it's a bit disrespectful for our Mel.
Yeah, but I don't think everyone's pretending to care, but I don't think really it's almost like it's being done out of a matter of course.
The only one that does care is crazy Lisa.
But that's the thing, because it's being done because almost like people feel like they have to show some remorse toward Mel, it would have made more sense if they had done it in front of Lisa. So every time Lisa entered a room, they all started toasting to Mel. You know?
I mean, Lisa was at the bar and she just decided to walk out, didn't she? I think.
Oh, right.
Something like that, unless that was a different case. I mean, obviously, Detective Jack, keeping things on the level.
Oh, yeah, he's not going to reveal no secrets. Certainly not.
Just one more won't hurt, because Sharon, flatters her eyelashes and be like, could you just give me a heads up? Am I going down for murder? Or just wink once for yes, twice for no, and I'll be fine. But no, he's there, letting her know everything. There's a man who recorded you on the mobile phone, so we know that you didn't push her into the lorry. She willingly stepped in front and act surprised when you're told, see you later.
Yeah, that's a strange thing to say, isn't it? Act surprised, as if you had intentionally tried to kill Mel. But no, just if someone says that to you, then say, oh, really? That's a nice surprise. Off to Sainsbury's, want anything?
Yeah, I could have sworn I was going to jail for that.
Yeah, oh, darn it. I wanted to go to jail. Save me the hassle of telling Phil that he's not the father of the child.
But that did lead to a nice scene where Phil was bashing through the door with a weird camera angle, over the shoulder, those police CCTV shows they have.
Oh, I thought it looked like one of your Tomb Raider games.
Oh yeah, or Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
But yeah, he busted in and sort of told Lisa, all this load of rubbish. Don't ever do it again, otherwise you end up where Mel. Did he threaten to kill her? I can't really remember what he threatened.
There was an ambulance siren outside. And
or police or something.
Yeah, if you don't wind your neck in, then you're going to be hearing that very soon. That's a bit cruel. She did ask Denny for some information, and Denny said that home life wasn't really that hot between Phil and Sharon.
So Lisa did. Well, she talked to Denny.
Yeah, Denny was in the cafe. Wasn't buying.
Dennis Rickman, the little boy. Yeah.
Denny, yeah.
Oh, I missed that. What happened?
Well, she went.
Fill me in. Well, listen.
Denny was at the counter while Kathy was having a foot spa, and she was getting some drinks for Denny. Not a coffee from one of her now famous blue and pink mugs. I might mention her reusable mug.
I know.
10p off, by the way. 10p off. Bargain. And Lisa came in and said, oh, hi, Denny. How are things? Tell me something about your mum. And he did, apparently. She's later on relayed, I think,
we didn't see what he said.
No, but Louise, she says to Louise that apparently life in the house hasn't been too great between Phil and Sharon. So by that, I think you're meant to take that their relationship isn't particularly very magnetic at the moment, even though she's pregnant with what Phil believes is his child.
Okay, that's interesting, because I've noticed they've kept Denny, or Dennis, whatever his name is, Dennis, very off the side, and I'm wondering if he's going to be involved in this reveal at Christmas.
Oh, you reckon he's going to be the one who finds out?
Because he had those, remember ages ago, he had those headphones on, and Sharon thought he heard everything, but he just had headphones on, so he didn't hear. I'm wondering whether he's known the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Because he punched her and called her a slag, didn't he? Yeah, but... I mean, no one really knows why. And
that's when he was getting heavy into the gang warfare, wasn't he? And I think he thought he was a bit cool. Denny. All it takes is one flattering thing said by someone, and he instantly thinks he's the coolest guy on earth.
Yeah, but I am wondering, is there a reason why they're keeping us out of our conscious? And him and Lisa having a little chat seems a bit suspicious. I can't believe I missed that. But that rings reveal Christmas Day alarm bells to me.
But then wouldn't Denny say something if he knew about Keanu? He said, oh yeah, Keanu used to be around the house all the time.
Maybe he's not trusting Lisa yet.
So, well, what's it going to take for him to trust
a video game?
Oh yeah, he loves to blackmail, doesn't he? new Xbox.
That's what he did to Michelle after she punched him. But yeah, I mean, she's on innocent, and Lisa is just being shown to be going crazy, and people asking her if she's on her meds and things, which I hate when they always say that to Jean all the time. When Jean is angry at something, someone walks by and goes, "You on your meds?" And I just think, I just hate that line that they keep using on characters.
It's really insulting, isn't it?
It is insulting,
yeah. And it's not. It with someone who has an illness of the mind. Someone who has an illness of the mind might be watching that and feel isolated too. The feeling that if people can say it in a TV program, I know it's fiction, but it just feels a bit disrespectful.
It's just really cheap writing as well. Oh, I won't believe you. Are you off your meds? Yeah.
That's an easy way out.
Yeah, she'll have the last laugh, I'm sure. And she's out to get revenge on her best mate's death. So
what more can you ask for? Hopefully, we'll find out more for when we get nearer to Christmas.
Right, so we've got a little Carter storyline going on. Linda's hungover again.
It must be all that drinking.
Just to join Martin, wouldn't she? on a night out.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good episode. Oh, that'd be amazing. Imagine
Two-hander.
if they... Yeah, imagine
pub to pub.
Well, they had a few pub crawl. Well, there's 3 now. E20, the Albert.
Yeah, exactly.
Vic.
And then back home for afters.
That's what I mean. That'd be the interesting story.
But so she's too hungover to take Ollie to school. So Mick says yes, lets him go in, not his school uniform, in his little superhero uniform.
Well, Ollie has been playing with their watches, don't forget. So,
to make up the time.
Yeah, Ollie likes to mess around with time. Literal time.
But obviously Linda, with her, like, I guess she's kind of a control freak, which is why she's not really accepting his diagnosis. But she wants him to be in a uniform, but Mick's kind of more chilled out about it.
Mick's much more relaxed about it and says, "Oh no, he likes it because that's a superhero costume that Mick had bought him." Mm-hmm. So he's and again, Mick took the approach perfectly. Said, he likes wearing that. I'm sure the school won't mind. Just let him wear it. I mean,
I don't know. Don't have kids.
Is there a special allowance for kids, perhaps, if
or if they're autistic, or maybe.
I mean, it's not a huge deal, autism. But obviously,
for Linda, it is.
Well, yeah,
it's her perfect family. She's got one girl who's got epilepsy, another boy who's gay. God.
One who's coming back. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's really that. With like Linda's just getting drunk. She keeps having bottles of wine on the table, or next to her, or near her all the time. And Mick's going in for Pub of the Year competition because loads of pubs are closing down. Apart from the Vic.
And he sees it as an approach in order to get more
win,
custom. Yeah,
because there's less competition, and he wants ideas thrown about between Shirley and Linda.
So they have all day to come up with ideas, and they don't.
And a whole bottle of wine.
Yes, but that's not bad. Over a space of a day to drink a bottle of wine.
That's true.
Between them as well. And Shirley's not exactly a light drinker herself.
No, Shirley had her own drink. She didn't have wine.
She had a bottle of vodka.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
But no, they only had one thing. But then Mick decides to do a wife swap.
Well, out of nowhere, he comes up with an idea of a wife swap. I don't, and it is a competition as well. Now, for me, I don't understand how you win a wife swap.
I know, best wife.
But do you win by not sleeping with the person who becomes your new wife, or do you win by admitting that the person who is your wife is better than the wife you ended up with during the wife? How do you win a competition like that? I don't understand the rules of this game.
It's really odd. I did see this spoiler a few weeks ago when they said all these couples, we'll talk about it next week because that's when it actually happened, but all these couples are mixed up in a wife swap, and everyone thought this is just a joke because when you see who's paired up with who, it's like, what? That thing we've been going on about where they're picking up 2 names from a hat and putting them together is literally happening next week. But it is true apparently, and Cherie wanted to be involved in it because she kind of wanted to do some digging on Denise, so kind of wants to swap with Denise and Jack.
That's right.
But then Denise will be Patrick's wife, which is a bit weird.
Which is weird because that's her father.
Well, no, but yeah,
yeah.
Sees him as a father.
Yeah, father figure. Sorry.
But very odd. What is this competition? What are they doing? And it goes on for days. They said it's 3 days, didn't they?
So they
swap,
and they have to live in each other's houses as well. It's just insane.
And what's it got to do with the pub?
Well,
also,
yeah, that's right. All this is actually happening away from the pub. I mean, it makes some sense. Maybe if they opened up the rooms above the pub, and so they had each couple in a room, and they live streamed it, and they built a website, thevic.com or something like that.
It is very strange behaviour, and I don't know who wins or how anyone can win.
But it just doesn't make sense. How is that promoting the Vic? One. How is that in any way a competition? It's a TV series. It's a quite enjoyable TV series, but it's not something you can do in real life. It's just not. Yeah, it's just not able to be done.
And the fact that Mitch. Do we know that Mitch and Karen are doing it yet, or is that next week that I'm thinking ahead of myself?
I think you're thinking ahead of yourself.
Okay, never mind then. But that's weird because they're not even together, but they're doing wife swap.
Oh, so Mitch is going to be with someone and Karen's going to be with someone else as well.
Well, the person that Mitch is with is, I won't say, we'll do it next week, but it's weird.
Well, can I predict who I think some of the swaps will be?
Okay.
You don't have to say if I'm right or wrong, because I don't know. I'm not in the loop of spoilers like you are. Okay, so you said Karen and Mitch, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So I'm presuming Mitch is going to end up with Tiff, and I think that Karen's going to end up with Gray.
Well, no, Karen would be with Keegan then, wouldn't he? Because they swap.
Oh, do they have to swap directly?
I think they swap directly.
Oh, well, then if they're doing that, then probably Keegan. But then again, that's her father.
Yeah, I know.
So it'll be Chantelle and Keegan, Chantelle and Mitch, and then Gray and Karen. Because Gray and Karen's the one I'm presuming are going to be together. Oh. And then, I'm sorry, Mick and Linda are going to be involved too. Because they have to be.
So that means Mitch and his daughter. That's just weird too.
Yeah.
It's all very strange.
So Linda's going to be with Billy because of the whole last week when they had that story with the
their little chat.
So there's going to be more to explore with Billy.
Billy's not with anyone to swap with, so that won't happen.
Oh yeah. Oh, then
unless Honey just turns up.
Well, yeah. Well, that's who I thought would be Honey and Mick, because Honey and Mick was kind to Honey a few weeks ago, wasn't he, with the costume party at Halloween?
Maybe I can't remember. All I remember is the weird one of the tailors. But maybe Mick will end up with Whitney, and that will upset Linda because of the whole little affair thing they had together.
Yeah, but then Linda will be with Leo.
Yeah, it's fine. Bit of Scottish, whatever he is. I don't know what is that. His accent changes like every week.
What does it?
Every scene it changes. Is he from Manchester? I don't know where he's from.
I don't think I've ever noticed an accent.
What? Yes, you have. Anyway, but that's the wife's fault. That's next week. But it's just a bizarre turn of events. That's all I've got to say on them, really.
Talking about a bizarre turn of events.
Well, yes, I quite enjoyed this. Ruby just went up in my estimations like 1,000 this week.
Although she did get a giraffe tongue out again.
Yeah, that's fine, because she said no to Max and humiliated him in front of everyone.
That's true. Thanks to Ian Beale as well. So Ian Beale goes up in your estimations too.
And Max went even further down in my estimations because he threatened to kill Ian.
For me, again. So he said, "I will strangle you again."
Yeah, it's like it's a joke. That did actually happen, Max.
Lols.
So, that's annoying. Again, with the bad writing and the stupidness of recent EastEnders, how that they're business partners, but then they clearly remember this history with each other because he just mentioned strangling him. But they're happy to work with each other. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I don't think Ian or Max are particularly happy to work together. It's just
But they are.
But they're not happy. They're just having to work together.
They don't have to. They're not being forced.
Well, they do, because Max lost the car business. Max can't do anything else, so he has to have a business, doesn't he? Because he's meant to be this whiz on the books. Yeah. So, and every time you see him, he's always in Walford East, just at a table with paperwork shuffled around him and a laptop in front of him.
But you saying like Max has to work somewhere, so he works there. That is just lazy writing. You saying that proves how lazy that writing is. It's so silly.
What can Max do? He can't stand behind the desk of Minute Mart because
he can work at E20. Just say to Billy, "Oh, you offered me a job, so I'm working here now." That seems to work.
That did work, didn't it? I suppose he could ask for a job from Ruby, but I suppose it's going to be a bit rough subject now between him and Ruby.
Yes, because he gets mistaken for her dad.
Well, they go out on a date in E20, don't they? And some guy buys Ruby a drink, and then Ruby refuses it and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm actually out on a date with Max, this guy." And the guy laughs at him and says, "Oh, I thought you were her dad." And the guy
looked like Andy the Builder from like 4 years ago. Ronnie's weird, like Danielle's brother who was trying to get revenge on Ronnie. Do you remember him?
I do, and no,
they look similar. They did. They have the same eyebrows.
I'm sure you're watching a different show to me. First you're throwing accents at me. Now you're saying people look like other people.
He did look like Andy the Builder, just in a suit. Just because Andy was always naked, it's hard to remember what he was like with clothes on.
That's true. When he was stealing toilets and bathtubs.
But no, Ruby said no because she's with Max, and that obviously upset Max. So he thought, right, I know what I'll do. Even though I'm already married, which doesn't seem to matter in EastEnders anymore.
No.
Even Jack brought it up, and he was like, "That doesn't matter. She's moved on."
Yeah, then made fun of the person who Rainie's moved on with the attributes that Max also has.
Oh yeah,
balding, and calls him Uncle Fester.
Yeah, it's like Max, you're Uncle Fester.
All right, do you want to look in the mirror? Come on, calm yourself, mister.
But why does no one care that people are married? It's like Ian is still married to Jane and he was coming on to Mel. Didn't matter.
And Jane even tried to phone him and he hung up on her.
Yeah, and now Max is married to Rain and he's like, "That doesn't matter. I'll still propose." So all these bigamists, Ray wasn't that bad, really. Oh,
that's what EastEnders needs. A good bigamy story.
We had one with Ray. And he died.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I mean, so yeah, he's just going to propose even though he's already married. But Ruby says no, which I enjoy. And publicly. Because public things are so, especially when they're a surprise. Because you can't say no.
Yeah, and they're soppy and they end up working out well. Even though you think, oh, it's not going to work out. And they end up working out fine. Yeah, Ruby. And she laughed at him as well.
Good.
Yeah, but whilst Jay was listening to the car crash from the booth opposite them.
Well, that was really. I think Ian did that on purpose. He invited Jay because he knew that they were dating before, didn't he? So he sat them right behind Ruby just to rub it in. Yeah. And it's weird how Max was asking Bobby to do it, and it's that whole Bobby and Max. Everything's so weird.
Also, the fact that Max didn't know what a kosh was. He kept saying that silver dome thing.
He works. That's his business.
And it's his business. Yeah, I told you. All he does is shuffle paper and tap letters on a laptop. Uses the free Wi-Fi in Walford East.
But it's interesting that Ruby said she'll never marry anyone. She doesn't believe in marriage.
Yeah,
where's that come from?
You loved that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you, Ruby.
Go, Ruby.
Yeah.
up in my character list. She is.
Oh, we'll be talking about that in a bit.
Yeah.
We should quickly mention about Ian's political campaign, which isn't going too well either.
Isn't it?
No.
I black out on those things.
Oh, okay.
I'm afraid.
Well, Ruby did a list of people, local businesses, who was voting for Ian and who wasn't. And there was more red marks than green. Red being danger, no one's going to vote for you, and green being fine, someone will. And Ian was quite surprised that his withstanding in the community wasn't much higher, because he believed he was much more respected than he was.
For over 30 years.
Yeah, he's been working hard.
He's tried to be mayor, whatever, governor, like 3 times.
Yeah, he went bankrupt, then crawled himself out the gutter, then went homeless, sold his business to various people by accident. He's a businessman of the year, for heaven's sake. Make him mayor or whatever he's going for, governor of the Walford Council.
But hopefully his campaign will go strength to strength with Ruby's full attention on him rather than Max then.
Apart from the fact that Ruby said that she had better things to do, like looking after the E20 now.
But I don't know, I'm guessing her and Max are still together, but like he stormed out.
Oh, he's being stroppy because he's always stroppy. He'll probably end up finding someone on an app now and sleeping with them and then being all like, "Oh, sorry, everybody, no. I was drunk, I didn't realise."
Right, next up we've got a feature, which, do you want to introduce this?
Okay, I don't mind if I do. Basically, it's a little video that was released this week called The Tier List of Characters in 2019. So as a little featurette, we're going to spend some time looking at a video that was released on our YouTube channel on Thursday, where I went through every character that had been, or most characters that had been on EastEnders in 2019 and ranked them on a tier list system. And I'm going to, basically because Ben didn't participate, Ben's going to give some of his opinions on some characters that he thinks should be where. And also I'm going to justify some of my decisions to Ben as well, because since the release of that video, there's been quite a few heated debates within our home of perhaps I've made a few wrong decisions, and I'm going to justify them all right here for you guys listening.
A few.
Oh, right. So
a few wrong decisions.
A few. Not one or two, a few. Okay, go on then, bring them on.
I mean, so basically what tier list is, you're ranking characters from like best to worst, basically, for anyone who's not seen the video.
I mean, watch the video
on the YouTube, yeah watch it.
Go to YouTube, look for EastEnders Weekly Podcast, and it should be...
And then tell Alex what you did wrong.
Yeah. Well, I want it. I asked for it on the video. I want people to comment and let me know, and people have. And I respect your views, but I
mean, one thing that stands out next to Stuart, we have Stuart and Callum's dad under Lovely, Lovely, Lovely. How's he lovely? And how is he in the same category as Kathy?
Right. So Kathy went down a tier, as I said at the beginning, because I didn't respond well to her decision of giving drugs to Rainey. So she lost points.
For God's sake.
I'm sorry, but you lose your crown. If the Queen started handing out drugs to Prince Philip, I would understand entirely. Just stop doing it. You lose your crown.
Well, no, Queen Kathy should be at the top.
Well, no, not on this occasion, I don't think. And also she's had
So Mel is better than Kathy in your tier list?
Yes, because Mel's had an amazing year. Mel had an outstanding year.
She blackmailed 2 people. She should go down.
Yeah, but she was doing it being spicy. Kathy was doing it out of spite.
Okay, well, why is Callum's dad in Lovely then?
Because I want him back, and I think if he did come back, his story would be really interesting with the highway crew, the family, especially with the Callum and Ben story, because their relationship is so fragile to begin with. To throw the dad into the mix would be interesting, and you saw that when he had his couple of weeks on the show, and so he deserved a higher rank for that.
Maybe it's just the wording of Lovely, Lovely, Lovely sounds like pleasantness, and he's not pleasant, so maybe that's a bit...
Well, lovely, 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 as in, lovely, can't wait to see more of him.
Pete Beale.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, I've just noticed, where is it? Martin Fowler's in Mayor.
Yeah, so a few people have mentioned that.
And he's in the same category, Mayor, Mitch. Surely Mitch should be getting the bin.
I must admit, Mitch is one I'm kind of thinking could have been maybe lower. I wouldn't say bin, but I think just about bearable, perhaps. So he's one amendment, perhaps I do concede. Martin Fowler hasn't, for me, been interesting enough to go any higher. And I don't, as much as I'm enjoying the Dark Martin storyline, at the same time, it doesn't suit him, and so it kind of counteracts one another. So it's a rubbish reason, I admit, but that's why he's in there.
There's too many mayors on your list. Well, again, they need to be more bearable and get in the bins.
Well, I joke about that on the video. I openly say that there's a lot of mayor, but that's because it's it's like they're all building up to something. So for me, Mare is like the starting grid. That's where all the characters are beginning, and if they have a good year, then loads of them will leap up into lovely, lovely, lovely. And that's why I've done that. That's because they're primed, they're ready, they're going to crawl their way up to the top. And some may go to lovely, lovely, lovely. Some may go to the best.
I'm surprised as well you haven't put Jean in the top. She's in the second. Why is she not in the top?
Because she's not been quite that good.
Oh, but Dot has.
Yeah.
Dot's hardly been in it.
Dot's iconic, one.
So's Kathy.
Yeah, but Kathy gave drugs to people.
Dot killed Dr. Leg.
Dot also killed her own son for the same things with drugs. But no, but that's why, for me, that's why, really, that story of Dr. Leg was, for me, I think, one of the highlights of the year. Perhaps even...
That was John York.
Yeah, I know. I can see that from...
Where would you put Kate Oates in the list?
Well, if Kate Oates was a character, or Kate Oates as an executive producer?
Yeah.
So, as being executive producer of the show?
Yep.
I'd love her to come on as a character, as herself. Kate Oates just breaks the fourth wall. Kate Oates, am I putting Johnson and Kate Oates in the same place?
Yeah.
I think they're the same, aren't they?
They're the same person, yeah.
They are. Yeah, they are. Don't see them in the same room at the same time. At the moment, for 2019, I would put Kate Oates as lovely, 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 but on the cusp at the bottom of Mare. So Ooh. she's like a B-. So she there's more she can do, and I'm excited to see it. But I'm sure we'll discuss this a lot more when we do our review of the year. So come on then, show us your colours. What would you then put people? Tell me some of your characters and where you'd rank them.
Kathy at the top.
Yeah, but why would you put Kathy at the top? Because she's not really done a lot.
This year she's finally been able to be like head of her house and brood, and that's where she's needed to be for years. She stood up to people, stood her ground. She's not taking that "you're dead" excuse anymore. She's opened a new business. She bought the Dagmar, the place where she had that bad background of Wilmot Brown. She overcome that.
Yeah, but she can't ride on the whole Pride episode. I'm sorry, but that's as much as I loved that episode. For me, that isn't enough for her. Her character trait has changed a little bit. Do you not think this year?
No, I'd also put Keanu down to Mare.
From
Lovely, Lovely, Lovely. And
really?
I'd also put Lisa and Martin up to Lovely. I'd put Patrick in Just About Bearable, along with Lola and Tina and Mick. And
that's
Mitch.
Interesting you're saying Tina needs to go down, because a few people have got in touch and said that Tina should actually be higher.
No, she's not in that storylines in that year.
Well, I agree with you, but I wouldn't say she was that bad. I don't say she was bearable. She's been fun to watch.
I put Billy in the bin. Daniel Cook, don't know why he's there, but he should be in the bin.
Well, no, Daniel Cook needs... imagine how exciting that story is going to be once it comes out next year.
Sonia needs to go up into You're the Best.
Oh, no.
She saved Ben's life.
I do, in the video, over-explain the fact that I do love her a lot, and she very close came to the best, but I don't think she's... Again, they've kind of given her a story and then taken it away, and given her a story and taken it away, so she's not done anything all the way through the year. There's not been enough just yet.
I'd also move Stuart down to Mare or About Bearable, because he's been ruined this year by trying to be too nice, and I can just see I'm bored of his character, which I don't want.
Yeah, but this is it. The reason I put him...
boring.
The reason I put him high is because of the redemption. So it was amazing how he had this redemption story.
No, Ian going down as well to Just About Bearable.
Ian Beale?
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget to message your opinion after you've heard this. What do you think of Ben saying that Ian Beale should be Just About Bearable?
He's horrible. He's been horrible to Bobby all year. He's ignored everything but that. He just thought about himself all the time. So yeah, Just About Bearable. Who else can I see?
Who else can you cull?
Honey maybe moved down to Just About Bearable.
No, I mean, I've got I'm hoping for good things from Honey, i.e. not with Billy next year. So that's why I've given her, as I said, think of Mare as the starting grid. So she's having a fighting chance being there for me.
I'd also put maybe Miriam and Arshad down to Just About Bearable, because they were really silly this year as well.
I only put them in Mare really because I felt a bit sorry for them.
No, it'd be hard. But yeah. Too many Mares, they need to be split up a bit, I feel.
You reckon I was sitting on the fence a bit too much?
I do.
There's always 2020's list. We can always go back to the drawing board. But at least you put your money where your mouth is, and you've explained exactly what you think I've done wrong. And
I'll draw up a diagram later.
You can always do your own. Anyone can do their own. If you go to tiermaker.com and search EastEnders 2019, you'll be able to make your own tier list and then send it to us on our Twitter @EastEndersWeek or email eastendersweekly@gmail.com. We'll post any ones that we receive as well on our social medias. Have a look at the video and get the full insight of my mind of what exactly I felt the character tier list should be for 2019. Go to our YouTube channel, search EastEnders Weekly Podcast, and then search within that you'll find EastEnders character tier list 2019.
Comment how wrong it is.
You can. And watch till the very end as well, because there's a really fun picture of .con.
Well, she is the best.
According to my tier list, she is, yeah, certainly. This is just one big watch the video promo.
Make sure you subscribe as well.
Oh yeah, and ring the bell, and ring to say that you want all the videos and not just the optional few. And that was our little dip our toe in the water of our character tier list of 2019.
Right, so let's get into the Beale house, because we're building up the Beales, because they had a family meal in that special house, the main house of EastEnders from 1985.
To present.
And finally we have like a meal in there, which I love that house and having characters in that house. So it was nice, and it was a nice mix of characters. Martin was finally invited, because he's normally left out of these sort of things.
It's quite a contrast, I just want to point out, from this time last year, with the Beale house, when the only person living there was Ian.
Oh yeah, with his spuds.
Yep. But that's what I mean. It was so empty. And I remember, as you just said at the beginning of this section, building up the Beales. And we kept saying it, build up the Beales, build up the Beales.
You were getting there.
I think we're there.
And Kathy sits head of the table, which I love.
Like she should. And then Ian at the other end of the table.
Yeah.
Very Games of Thrones.
And Martin's in Lou's chair looking all mumpy. Or Pauline's chair.
Yeah.
So that's fun. That was the position where they used to sit. So I kind of guess that was deliberate.
He was a grey wig away from being his mum.
Bit Arthur-y. But he had the information fed to him from Lola that Callum is going to be a cop.
Yeah.
And obviously he thought, oh, wait a minute, I can use this to get Ben off my back.
Well, there's a sweet irony to it, isn't there? Where I don't think Martin thought it was going to get him off his back. This was all Kathy's responsibility. No, but he kind of just
wanted to use it against him, didn't he? Or...
Yeah, no, I just think
mild threat.
I think he found it funny. I think he found it it was a joke that Ben was being this bullying figure to him, and that now he had to consider what he was doing. And Kathy overheard the whole conversation they were having in the kitchen as well. So
Kathy
when he
threatened Martin.
Yeah, so Kathy's back in the loop now. And so with the help of Kathy and Callum, Ben is now trying to get on the straight and narrow.
Which I find, first, before I go on that, I want to talk about the scene with Kathy and Ben, because we didn't get enough Ben and Kathy scenes, and we had two really good ones this week. But it was nice, that one. And I said a few months ago, when people keep saying to Kathy, every time Kathy stands up for someone, they go, you faked your death, they shoot her down.
Yeah.
And I was like, stop saying that. It's been like 5 years, get over it. But it really annoyed me that every time Kathy stood up and said something to someone, that's what they would say to her, because Rainey kept doing it last year. And Ben said it, and she said, oh, get over it. And I was like, oh, thank God. Hopefully that's the last reference to it now. Because we've had it from all the characters. We don't want anyone else referencing it. So I'm hoping that's the last we hear of, oh, you were dead, to Kathy.
Well, you faked your death.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, this is my head. And so I'm glad she called him out on that and said, no, get over that.
There's many other things that people could criticise Kathy for.
No. For being too beautiful.
Yeah.
For looking too young.
For selling pink and blue mugs and then getting people to rebuy them again every time they come to the cafe.
It's not her fault, that's their fault.
Well, that's it. They keep forgetting to bring their mugs out with them. That is true.
But it was nice, and she stood up to Ben, because she is her mum, and he was being disrespectful, and she thought, no, you need to respect me.
Absolutely.
I'm head of the house, Beale.
Smack round the chops.
Yeah.
Quick adjustment.
Another person to hit Ben. Ticking them off.
There must be a literal hit list of people who have hit Ben.
But obviously that's where he sort of went on this pilgrimage, shall we say, Miriam and Arshad, of going straight and seeing if he can live the life of being straight. Which brings me on to my other issue that I was just on about just now. But was Ben having trouble being straight, as in being on the good side of the law, before he left last year? He seemed pretty fine when he was with Paul. Paul seemed to settle him all straight, and he wasn't all gangstery and into this stuff then. No. So I find it really funny how they're doing this big thing like Ben can't possibly be straight and be on this side of the law, when he was pretty much there anyway beforehand.
They turned Ben to 11 when he came back this time, this recent incarnation of him,
literally,
admittedly.
Plot device, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. But I agree with you. I think that to have him constantly saying to all the characters, he said to Jay, said to Kathy, said to Callum, he said, this is the only way of life I know. This is all I know. And it's
it's literally not.
It's not really. We don't know what he got up to whilst he was away from the square, between his past Ben and current
He wasn't
Ben.
gone that long.
But he was
8
gone
months.
long enough that he made enough money and he got together with Lola and Lexi and was able to manipulate them to come down. A story that's just been long forgotten about him trying to,
building Phil up and then knocking him back down again.
Which has not happened again, but there we go. And so to say that it was his way of life does seem a bit like, not really.
It feels like they write Ben as 2 separate characters. We've said that before again, I know, but this week really showed that to me. Like, he's written as 2 different characters, even up to the point of the end of Friday's episode where he popped out and saw Martin drunk and he was like all concerned and helping him up. It's like, what? Like, last week you were hanging off a bridge threatening to kill Arthur. And then this week, you see Arthur having a little piggyback and your heart breaks and suddenly everything's forgiven.
Because he was threatening Martin's kids at
one point as well. Off on the bridge. It's like 2 characters are being written at the same time. And it's the more it happens, the more and more it's difficult to forget what happened last week.
Yeah.
And every time they show him kiss Callum, I just go, oh, for God's sake. Because I know that if they're showing Ben be nice to Lexi or kiss Callum, he's then in 2 episodes' time going to do something like throw someone off a bridge or human traffic someone. It's like, I'm seeing through this and it's just ridiculous.
It's becoming a little predictable. It's interesting how every producer that brings Ben back, it's like they've recast him because they have their own idea of what Ben should be. They sort of
reset him again.
That's right. The reset button does every time. So it's the recast is basically their image of what they want Ben to become. And this time, the image of Ben is this gangster who wants to go straight but can't. And it's, I don't know, it feels like we're jumping into the late 90s when there's a lot of gangstery stories and a lot of like crimey stories too.
Yeah, big issue. I mean, this week I've really seen it like with Jack stuff, with the Leo stuff. We've seen like inside the police station and like the staff room and things, and I know it's not that big yet, but it's like the beginning building blocks of it becoming like a crime drama almost to me. And there's like court cases and solicitors and cops, and then there'll be Callum training as a cop, and then I'm sure him and Jack will get involved in something in the police station, and that's what I can imagine happening. And it's like, no, I want to stay in the family homes of the people of Wolford, not in the courtrooms or the lawyer office or stuff like that. It's not my EastEnders. No,
I mean, they go through phases though, don't they, in EastEnders, where they kind of go to the crime part.
I can
London
see it happening.
East End
though.
crime, yeah.
Like the way it's being filmed, and like I mentioned, like the darker sets and things, the camera angles, it's all very crime drama.
But it's ever since they introduced the Painter brothers as well has made me think that way too.
Oh yeah, and them,
yeah, because they obviously have links to crime. So again, more crime stories coming up, and
it doesn't do it for me.
No, I agree with you completely. But then Jack's not the only policeman in town, because we might get a new one soon. And after a little chat with Jack, Callum seems right for the job, ripe for the plucking.
Yeah, ridiculous though, because he mentions Jack was like, oh, it's quite difficult now, Callum. You have to do things by the book, obviously you get reports on you.
I know, that's such a ridiculous thing to say, isn't it?
Jack, you've been on the force for less than a month and you've done it about 5 times already.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, well, I was in the army. That wasn't easy. He was like, that will give you good stead. And it's like, Callum was taken out of the army, 1 for PTSD and 2 for an injury. So how's that going to give him good stead to be a policeman?
That PTSD, he never got any treatment for that. And so that's a knowing illness that could potentially threaten his career in the police force immediately, and especially if he doesn't open up to it at the beginning of the interview.
Because if you're out on a job and something happened, you could just freeze.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're not a reliable source for the police force, because you could make someone else get hurt or killed, your partner, because you're not able to protect them up to your high standard. It's not his fault, obviously, to have
No, but the storyline is silly.
Yeah.
Like how he's just plucked this, like he suddenly wants to be a policeman.
Press the restart button. But there's something interesting that you said to me, which was that everyone seems to have forgotten that the reason that Callum, or Halfway, is in this soap in the first place was because he was involved in a heist.
Oh, yeah.
Where he shot Mick.
Yeah.
And
stole that jewellery and paid off the Vic. So, like, Callum's walking around like, I'm holier than thou. Ben, you've got to be straight. It's like, Callum,
nope.
You were a Ben.
You were a Ben at one point with your little woolly hat. Who we miss dearly, And we hope to hear from again soon.
But it's another one of those things where EastEnders are like, you're not meant to remember that, so you won't. But then at the same time, they'll bring up Martin taking Ben up on a bridge 20 years ago, which we do have to remember. So, are we meant to remember the history or not?
I just think that at some point, EastEnders are going to start flashing subliminal cards that just says, forget that. Don't remember this.
I mean, do you want to talk about I know I'm moaning a lot this week. I loved last week, and then the weeks before that I was moaning, now I'm moaning again. But the Martin storyline and Stacey storyline on this as well, it's like so unnecessarily confusing and like contrived.
It's so convoluted.
It doesn't need to be, and they keep... The more they do this storyline, the more plot holes pop up behind them. Like, why didn't they just do it a little bit simpler?
Quickly flash that, forget this card.
Oh, it's so silly. It's like Stacey can come home now because Ben has that weird thing where he forgives everyone. And he sells his business to Tubbs, and Tubbs takes over the loan shark or whatever.
Yeah, which so then, I think is going to be trouble for Karen in the future.
He says, Martin, you're off the hook, Stacey can come home now. So he's like, okay.
Yeah, I'll phone her now.
So he phones her, but she's not answering her phone and leaves her a message. Yes. But he doesn't say in his message, everything I said was a lie, please get back to me really quick. He says, I've got something I need to talk to you about. Yeah,
leaving it up for interpretation.
And then we've got the plot holes of him sleeping with Sonia. Now, are we to assume that Jean's not told Kat? Like, does Kat know?
No, because
or does
Martin.
Big Mo know?
No, Martin asked Jean not to tell anyone about
it.
Did she
though?
Well,
that's what we're presuming.
Presumably so. Yeah.
Like, in what world could you imagine the house of the Slaters knowing that round the corner Sonia slept with Martin? None of them have barged over and confronted her.
Or even Kush kind of like having a word in his best friend's ear.
Or Stacey. Like charging over. Yeah. Getting her own stuff.
That's the strange thing, isn't it? Is that Stacey's just kind of rolled on her back and had just said, okay, you've slept with someone else, then fine.
But he's got this new man, apparently.
At the school gate.
That was hilarious. It's like she's on the run away from the law because she attempted to kill Phil. Can't possibly come home to see her mum who's having cancer treatment.
Just went over to another borough of London.
But she can do school run. That's fine. I can pop over to the school. I can talk to single men. Date them. Have them come over to my house and pick up my stuff for me.
Standard living a life.
Oh, it's just so stupid. So what was his name? Tyrone, was it?
No, it's Jerome.
Jerome, sorry. So here we have Jerome, who was a friend, but allegedly is, I'm guessing, her new partner.
Again, a very sexy character casting. I mean, they really have just been like, any man, do you reckon in the audition process they take your shirt off and we want to see underneath?
It's very Hollyoaks.
It is, don't you think, though, that they've been casting a lot of very good-looking people?
Like, although most of them are villains as well, which is weird.
Jerome's not a villain.
Well, we don't know.
Well, that's
might
true.
Be.
That's true. You might be friends with Tubbs. You might be starting that loan ring.
I mean, he was a man in a suit, so normally on EastEnders that equals bad news.
Villainry.
But so yeah, he's there picking up, and it seems like Jean's spoken to him before and knows of him, but it's not really mentioned him. Well,
Stacey was meant to be collecting all of her items from the house with Jerome.
Well, red coats.
Yeah, and bags.
And her white Christmas thing she always wears every Christmas.
Or the Santa costume, when she has to do the dance routine. It just seems to be a Slater tradition now.
Yeah, but so I just thought, really, Stacey's moved on while she's on the run and she's not seen her kids. That's the first thing she decides to do.
So how long ago did Martin tell her that he'd slept with Sonia? It was 2 weeks ago. 2 or 3 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, yeah. 4 maybe.
That's a real roller coaster of a relationship there, where she's trusted this random guy to go meet her mum, introduce himself as her boyfriend, and
but Kat and Big Mo weren't there either. Like,
oh yeah,
it's really odd.
Well, no, wasn't Kat and Big Mo working still? Because Jean made an excuse that she had to leave early because she found Mel's old. That was a bit of a throwaway thing they did this week. She found some old Mel's clothes.
Oh yeah, no one to touch them.
Well, yeah, she didn't want to touch them, but also Mel just had this random collection of wardrobe in the 20s, so she could change on a whim.
Very strange. And the other obviously Martin's also had a character revamp where he's now I guess when he punched those people with Tubbs, it unlocked his dark side is what we're going with. Okay. Now he's a bit loose.
Well, he got really angry, didn't he, when he found out that Arthur was being bullied by another kid.
Oh yeah, and he's hit him back twice as hard.
Yeah, I know. And then Kush was a bit like, oh, hang on, Martin. And I was like, I know what it's like to be walked over and I don't want my child to be that way.
I mean, Kush knew about Stacey's new boyfriend too.
Oh yeah, and kept it quiet from Martin.
So I got to say Kush.
I think Kush can see that Martin is slowly unravelling in front of him, but no one knows why, and that's what's so frustrating. Is because all Martin has to say was like, "I was being blackmailed." He doesn't even have to say it was Ben.
Well, he did tell Jean. Jean was just like, "No."
Oh yeah, she did, didn't she? She said, "You're more lies."
So stupid. But Kush was there to listen, so surely Kush knows what's going on because he knew that Ben was blackmailing him. So surely Kush can put two and two together. And say, maybe talk to Kat, and then Kat can actually be involved.
Well, because Kat doesn't know anything about it. But Kush could have spoken to Jean because Kush offered to take Jean to the hospital.
Kush's girlfriend. Like he could have spoken to Kat.
Yeah, but Kush and Jean are friends.
Well, yeah,
they're not distant from one another. They can still have a chat every now and then.
It's the most ridiculous storyline with so many plot holes. And then we had the music montage of him drinking shot after shot with that weird music behind. Which was, I was actually laughing at the screen when it was happening. It was so. Oh, it's just awful. Yeah, awful.
But then Ben came out and saw Martin like it and then became all holier than thou, didn't he? He was like, is everything all right, Martin?
Yeah, and he punched him. No, don't punch me.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know why you're angry at me, Martin. I've not done anything wrong.
I know.
It's like, well, Ben takes some responsibility here because you did turn this man's life into hell for almost a month.
That's what I mean, how they use Ben as two characters. Like we're like the way that was done and written and everything, we were meant to be on Ben's side of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, actually, no. We can't just forget everything Ben just did last week just because he said he'll take Lexi to Brighton.
Lexi's blackmail to again convince Ben to become a good person.
And I found it odd how Ben was like, oh yeah, in Brighton, I won't just be seeing the family. Like, meaning that he was going to hook up with loads of men. Like, I thought you were meant to be like in love with Callum and going straight for Callum.
Yeah, but he likes his little jokes, doesn't he? He likes to like make sexual jokes.
It's all very bizarre.
He made a sexual joke with his mum, didn't he? To this
he's very good in bed.
Yeah, he's like, this must be because I'm unbelievable in bed. And Kathy kind of Kathy was like, oh my son. But but that was a nice moment with him and Kathy when he said he's going to change and he's going to
that was one of the better moments of the week because it was actually like character driven and it was good. And she had a foot spa. But she was saying to him, like, oh, why do you think Callum likes you? And she was actually getting him to think about, like, maybe the more positive things about himself rather than him having to just be a Mitchell, I guess.
But it's funny how everyone's, like, kind of mothering Ben and looking after him and saying, oh, no, there, everything's going to be all right. And they can see Martin is literally dying out there, like finding life inconsumable to him, and he's having to drink.
He's growing his hair out.
Growing his hair, yep. It's not helping his hairline, but he's doing it anyway. And yet no one seems to want to help him. And it just seems really unfair, doesn't it?
Kathy needs to step in. She's his aunt, isn't she?
Well, yeah, and also Kathy knows that Ben's been doing all this to Martin.
She should take him to the allotment, sit him down, have a little chat about Arthur and Pauline, and get it all out and speak to old Kath.
A good old chat, and everything's
she's got the training.
Right. Yeah, she has.
Samaritans.
She's done it twice.
Do you think she used her Samaritan training on Ben then with her foot spa? She thought, I know what I need to say to him.
Were they teaching Samaritans that if someone is being naughty, you slap him around the face? No, I don't think. Well, maybe. But she needs her own line of foot spas. I'd buy one.
Pink and blue. Plastic.
It would be perfect.
So let's move on and talk about Sam Mitchell and Ricky, how they've just gotten married. Oh, sorry. I mean Tiff and Keegan.
Oh, of
completely different storyline with no similarities at all.
They're not moving into the same flat? No, of course they're not.
They're not wanting to be taken seriously as a married couple because they're young.
And they're not both trying to find work in order to sustain this married life that they've now created.
And they definitely didn't run off to Gretna Green to get married behind their parents' back.
None of this happened. There's no parallels at all. Nothing to see here.
No. So Tiff wants to be taken seriously because they're a married couple, but she doesn't think people will be taking them seriously. So they host a dinner.
A dinner party?
In the drug squat / Ted's flat.
Yes.
Will she invite Evie to dinner, I wonder?
Evie's got other priorities.
She's got a new name and everything, hasn't she?
Oh, she's done witness protection?
Yeah, that's how she left on the cab.
Oh, that's right. She did evidence against lots of people.
Obviously, Keegan is struggling. Not much word on his sandwich business, but he's struggling for money.
Yeah, there's a strange one that, because I didn't think they were quitting the sandwich business because he and Ikra decided that they were going to carry on, and they defied Ian, didn't they? Because they brought in Leo to sue him. And so Ian kind of
cease and desist.
Thank you.
Himself.
Thank you for that.
But yeah, so he's like struggling, trying to sell his trainers. He talks to Karen. Tries to be a big man, doesn't want to take money, but does.
A kimono dragon or a reptile of some sort that he's fought for having, and there was no evidence of that whatsoever ever happening.
Yeah, apparently he was the dragon, not Keegan. He was mentioned when they moved in 2017. Not been seen since, but now it made me laugh. Like on Keegan's wall, he's got posters of him on his wall. Just to let us really know. Yeah, just to let us really know that he does care for this kimono.
Well, this is one true love. Tiff comes second. But Chatnam and Riley, shout out to Chatnam and Riley, now are going to have him.
Well, they were, but then Keegan decided to keep him, didn't he, in the end?
Oh, that's a bit disappointing for Chatnam and Riley. Being locked up in the attic.
I don't know if he's got a name.
What, the dragon?
Yeah.
Anyone think of a name for the lizard?
Fluffy.
Yeah, let us know. Get in touch. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the usuals.
I wonder if Zach Morris, because he had him on his leg at the end of the week, and he had to pick him up and put him back in. I wonder how the actor felt. Does he like these reptiles or not?
Do you reckon he had a fear
stunt double?
Zach Morris's leg?
Well, Mel had a stunt double for her fish tank situation.
Oh yes, no, that's true. She did.
You never know.
She really did.
Yeah, I want to know the name of the reptile.
Well,
so send them in.
People know, send us suggestions. Or fan art. I'd love to see some fan art.
Of him on Keegan's leg.
Send them to us now.
Well, the storyline this week, really, apart from the marriage and being taken seriously, there was quite a good storyline of the police stop and searching Keegan because they had a report of a drug deal and someone who was like a description of Keegan's character, so they decided to stop him. Obviously it wasn't just a random stop and search, it was very targeted.
It was a racial profiling, wasn't it?
And it was really interesting that they did that, and they found money on him, but they didn't find any drugs, obviously. But there was the illusion that because he had money on him, that's your drug money.
He must be a drug dealer. That really made me angry, actually, because it's we're meant to have moved on from that, and clearly
we haven't.
It was a social commentary, and that we haven't moved on to, as I say, a social profiling like that. And it was really well written, actually, for that scene when the police officer said, "We've had a report of someone who looks like you." And first reaction from Keegan was, "Of course you have." And so. Oh, it really actually made me my blood boiled that was happening, especially in London. It's just...
Yeah, it was really good as well how they got Mitch to tell a story about how it happened to him as well.
Yeah.
So it really goes to show, I'm guessing that would have been around the 70s when Mitch was
Mitch
about
said
that age.
In the 70s he was stopped 3 times once. On the 3rd time he lost his rag, quite rightly so, and he was arrested for it.
So from the 70s right up to 2020 nearly, it's the same situation happening. So it was really nice that they actually did that as a storyline, as an issue.
It was also quite exhausting for Keegan as well, because he said that nothing seems to be going his way at the moment, so he's desperately trying to find money, and this kind of was the icing on his exhausted cake.
Bad day, yeah.
Yeah, a real bad day he had, and he took it out on Tiff. And Tiff said, I haven't seen him like this since, he was involved in being gang warfare and the drugs and so forth.
Him talking about that reminded me how, there was, I'm assuming they've just stopped the storyline or whatever, but there was hints that he was having PTSD as well. Do you remember after the stabbing? And he was meant to be going to therapy and stuff. He
did go to therapy.
Stopped talking about that.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's...
Well, I'm presuming he had his
10
allotted... Exactly. He's had his allotted sessions, and it kind of, got him fixed, and now he's... But then, to be fair to the writers, that's good, because it's showing that he wasn't fixed, and he's still... Something like that should be ongoing care, and not care that basically should be... People shouldn't presume that it's fixed within, as you say, your NHS allotted 10 sessions. It's ongoing care, something like that. As you see the death of your best friend, especially if you witnessed it happening, and you were involved in so heavily with, and to just think that, after speaking to someone for 10 sessions, he'll be fine. He's moved on, he's had on. It's such a British upper lip way, isn't it? It's you've done fine, man up, you've worked it out now, sort it out. And it's no, that's not how it works. It's an ongoing process. And so it's, this, to be fair, was really nice that they had Keegan feeling a bit depressed, a bit down, and he just needed to be lifted up.
And also having Mitch there, and sort of Mitch kind of admitting how he's not been a good father, rather than making a joke of it all the time. And he said, I always have been proud of you. So it was quite a nice, moment for Mitch as a character.
Mitch is getting better, actually, don't you think?
Yeah, slowly.
He's improving.
Getting there.
Yeah.
Still not great.
After his conception of...
Stealing from Ted. Poor Ted.
Yes, he's improving.
But, the stuff with Tiff and him, they kind of had an argument, and she threw the food away, but then he kind of opened up to her and said, I've not got much money. Yeah. You've got no money.
Let's stop being silly here, and let's just live within our means a bit better. But I hope he does get back this sandwich business, because he can easily do it now. He's got his own flat to do it in. So get it up to standard.
Hygiene rating.
Yeah, get some Dettol, give it a good clean.
I mean, the business is questionable, really, but if it works in EastEnders world, we'll have to go with it.
We won't mind. We should also quickly talk about KK, the new worker at E20.
Oh, God, yeah, I forgot about that KK.
Karen's alter ego.
I don't know how she got that job, like, from what Billy said to her. It didn't sound anything like he was offering her a job.
He didn't. She just presumed.
But she just took it and...
But the fact that he then gave her one, that was so nuts.
And is it his job too? Or
well,
what's
Ruby walked
doing?
in and Billy did say, "Oh, I'm really sorry," but she kind of gave herself a job, and Ruby was like, "No, that's fine. I love a single mum, strong and independent woman. She's working for herself, trying to sort it out."
Did she say to Mel she wanted to like change it and turn it into like a really young, modern, hip club?
Yeah.
She got Billy and Karen behind the bar. Like, really?
Get Max in, you got a trio, haven't you?
Oh my God. She really will run that club into the ground, and Sharon will buy it back for pennies.
Good. I look forward to it.
But yeah, Karen working there, really. Again, I can easily pick out 5 characters who would fit in better behind there, who would need it more.
Do it.
Or Habiba.
Yeah.
She hasn't got a job. Kat, she's a cleaner in E20, and Karen's behind the bar.
Well, even Mo offered her services, said she could wear
Mo,
fishnets.
but not Kat. So I'm a bit weird about Jessie Wallace, actually. Like, they seem to have just forgotten her as a character. So I do worry about her. But there's just so many people who you could... Like, she's obviously going to... Maybe she'll get Stacey behind there eventually. Ruby will. But, like there's Lola. Will she work behind the bar?
Oh, yeah,
because
so Lola
more,
needs a
like,
job.
younger characters.
Is Lola... What Lola's working... She's working
at
the hairdressers, isn't she?
That's questionable.
Well, she is, because she's doing... She's done hairdressing for, what, 5 years?
10 years.
Yeah, and she's still doing her apprenticeship. She's a slow learner, is our Lolo.
Yeah. I mean, even Callum behind there would make more sense than him joining the police.
Yeah, but Callum wants a career, doesn't he?
Yeah, does he?
I want to know who's going to... Are they forgetting that the funeral parlour exists? I was thinking this today, because Jay's decided he doesn't want to work there anymore, so he's
making room for Pam to come back full-time to work there, isn't it?
It'd be nice if Pam came back with a family member who then takes over looking after the funeral business. That'd be cool. Then they can build up some family that way.
I mean, you could all even talk about better characters to be on the bar. Dottie could work behind there. She's doing uni shifts.
Oh,
Bex.
yeah. Bex and Dottie,
so
you're right there.
But no, Karen and Billy is our choice. Because I'm assuming they're going to create a love storyline between those two, I'm assuming.
I was thinking that as well.
And then Honey will be single, and then the second she's single, she'll walk in and they'll be kissing, and she'll be like, "Oh, it's too late."
Oh, no.
And she'll walk away.
I would pretend I look forward to that, but I'm not, so I won't.
No, let's move on to our game then,
Ooh.
and then we'll finish ourselves off. So we've got another exam for you with Libby Fox's degree of excellence.
I've had enough of exams. I don't want to do any more exams. Don't make me do more.
It's fine, the multiple choice.
Oh,
That's always good.
There's
always a chance.
1 in 4.
That's right. So I'm going to ask you irrelevant questions about things that happened on this week's EastEnders. Multiple choice, and you have to give me the correct answer, and there's 1 question for each episode of the week. So, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Right, question 1. What is the photo of that Lisa is holding while she's crying after Phil threatens her? So what's that photo she's looking at?
Okay.
Is it A, cast photo of Mel? Is it B, a photo of Mel and Lisa? Is it C, a photo of Mel and Hunter? Or D, a photo of Mel, Louise, Lisa and Hunter in Portugal?
It could be any of them, couldn't it? I don't know.
Yes, it
could. I doubt it's the Mel and Hunter one, because I don't think she'd be too upset about Hunter. I think she always didn't really care for Hunter. So I'm going to say a picture of her and Mel. So
B, a photo of Mel and Lisa together.
Yes.
Probably at Mark's wedding. That's when they had a photo together last. That is incorrect.
Oh. Is it just Mel?
No.
Is it the one in Portugal?
No.
Oh, it's the one of Mel and Hunter.
The correct answer is C, a photo of Mel and Hunter.
Oh dear.
She was crying over. Question 2. How many pairs of sunglasses is Lexi wearing when she gets ready to go to Brighton?
Okay.
Is she wearing 1 pair, 2 pairs, 3 pairs, or 4 pairs of sunglasses?
I'm presuming she's wearing them all on her head. So let's presume that she's wearing 1 pair over her eyes and then perhaps another pair on her forehead. I don't think she'll have room for any more sunglasses unless she was holding them, but I wouldn't consider that as wearing a pair of sunglasses.
What about around her neck? She might have those glasses when they hold glasses on her.
Well, like what a granny has, like a little neck neck thing for your glasses? No, I don't think so. I'm going to say 2. B2.
B2?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Yes.
She also had a pair of goggles round her neck, but I didn't count them.
Good. Well, you shouldn't because they're not glasses. And also, are they prescription or are they just for fun?
For fun.
Okay.
That's what Lexi's all about. Question 3. What is Keegan taking a photo of on his phone when he's trying to sell something? Is it A, his pet iguana, B, a designer watch, C, a pair of trainers, or D, the cufflinks he was going to wear to the wedding?
I know the answer to this. He's talking to... Is it an iguana? I thought it was like a dragon.
No, I don't know. They're all the same. Reptiles.
Anyone
They're
listening who likes reptiles will be very upset with that comment. They're all the same. But he's talking to his pet.
Fluffy,
but who he has plenty of selfies of. But he is selling his trainers. So it's C.
C trainers, that's correct.
White trainers. The ones he bought when he first made his first sandwich profit.
Oh, yes. To be like the trainer man.
Yeah.
Right, question 4 and the last one. You're currently at 50%. So, question 4. How much does
66%.
Karen... Okay. You got 2 right.
Yeah, out of 3.
Oh, yeah, but this is the 4th. So now you're down to
but so
50.
far I've only had 3 questions.
How much does Karen wrongly charge for the customer at E20 on her trial for the order of 4 lagers, 1 vodka and 1 slimline rum? Does she charge A, £28.50, B, £26.70, C, £18.90, or D, £32.30?
Okay, just remind me of the order again.
4 lagers, 1 vodka and 1 slimline rum.
Slimline rum. 2 vodkas and 1... So how many lagers, sorry?
4 lagers.
4 lagers. 2 vodkas.
1 vodka and 1 slimline rum, but she's accidentally overcharged because she's ordered 2 rums.
I knew that, so that's why I'm trying to work it out. So I'm trying to work out in London prices what that would be.
What would Ruby charge?
Well, what would a lager be? I reckon in London, lager's about £6-7 a pint. That's presuming they're pints. 7, 14, 21, 28. Oh, okay, that knocks me out. Gosh. Okay, I'm going to take the highest amount then. £32.30. D.
Yeah, that's an overcharge as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's incorrect.
Oh.
The amount that she charged was £28.50.
Oh, really?
And she charged for 2 rums by mistake.
But £28 is what They can't have been pint of lagers then. Maybe they're continental in E20 and they sell them by the half litre or something.
Or maybe E20 is just cheap.
That's true. It's already beginning to show some wear, that place. They've got rid of their dance floor as well, have you noticed?
I know. Tables and chairs instead.
Yeah, all green.
Well, there you go. You got 2 out of 4.
Now I've got 50%.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's all right. It's a pass.
Yeah, barely. There you go. That was a riveting edition of Libby Fox's Degree of Excellence. So going on to my worries of the Beale coming into this week with all the weird police stuff going on, because Detective Jack is walking through like a court case or going to a court case, and there's like a bit of protesting going on, and not really
a one-man protest.
Yeah,
no, a man had given evidence against a woman who was wrongly convicted for murder.
We think, or
we
that's
know,
what Leo
that's what
thinks.
He said. No, Leo said that, and then the woman had a child, so that's where Leo's link is, and that woman died in prison, and so the man had
Cindy Beale.
Yeah, exactly, and so that man had basically
given fake evidence.
Had given fake evidence and taken away the child ever getting to know her or his mum because she was in jail for a crime she hadn't committed. So that's why Leo was angry at the guy and was protesting and shouting in his face and saying, "You did this and that and the other."
And Jack pulled him off and pushed him into a door.
Pushed him into a corridor and then arrested him.
Is this woman... Is this going to be a character that we've known, do you think? Or is it going to be related to Leo?
I don't think it's going to have... No, I don't think it's got anything to do with
anything.
anything.
So Leo's just being his, vigilante.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
Leo saw something in himself and his father in this case.
Because his dad was taken away from him.
Was taken away from him with evidence that was wrongly given,
by Whitney, but not.
But in his case, it wasn't, because Whitney was right to give evidence. But obviously, he's linked it that way, and so that's why it's a similar. So that's what he's doing, as you say. It's a personal attack on this guy because he's linking his story with what the guy had done, and so the way he's protesting to Whitney is by.
Wrong.
No, well, it is wrong because Whitney was right to say it, but also the way he's doing it is that he's trying to woo her.
Yeah, completely.
Eventually,
do something.
What he's trying to undo is we don't quite know yet, but he's obviously up to something with Whitney.
And obviously Jack's getting in the way. Didn't do his research on Whitney's family tree.
No.
Well. I mean, her family tree is quite complex. So it would take a while to research it.
It's not something you'd probably post on Instagram quite openly.
No.
And plus, she doesn't really hang out with her Uncle Jack that often.
No, that's
so,
true.
Who she's would? Not post... I know. I wouldn't want to. That madman who's in the middle of the pub just raising glasses at the roof, Especially
when you have like the 10% chance that Max will also be there. That really kind of like, no.
Can you imagine an evening with Jack and Max?
Oh, no.
It'd be awful, wouldn't it? Oh.
But I mean, Leo does his little ghost search, which everyone seems to use because Jack uses the same search engine.
Yeah, I did it with you, didn't I? Because I said, I'm going to find out how much information I'm going to find about you. And I just put your name in, and it was not very interesting at all. So they must have some checkered pasts in Wolford.
Well, they do. I mean, he found out something on Jack and kind of threatened Jack with that. But I don't know why Jack's worried, because surely that all the police
he was fired, exactly. I thought the reason he left the police force was because he was found out for the crime of releasing information.
So. I mean, it's a bit questionable how he got his job back so quickly, but...
Well, because they were desperate, remember? Jack could only
taking on Callum, they're that desperate.
Exactly. They could only get Jack to come to join the force again because they were that desperate. The budget cuts have made them so desperate, so sparse with actual police officers that they just take anything they can get now.
And obviously Leo's like educated himself so much in being like training to be a solicitor. He knows how to kind of say the right things or do enough to not get like in trouble for it, I'm assuming. But Jack, Detective Jack also does a search on Leo, but his surname he's given isn't Leo King, which we thought his surname was.
Well, I think it's
presumed like Leo Cameron or something like that. So I don't know if he's giving fake name or if he's not called Leo King.
Well, I'm presuming he's maybe changed his name by deed poll or something like that.
He's billed as Leo King on like the cast cards and things, but whether that's just for the audience to
associate
back to
themselves to him, yeah.
It
wasn't the only source though that Jack got his evidence from. He had a quick word in the ear of Sonia. Sonia.
What do you think about Leo?
Yeah, well, at least he's not gay. Right, Sonia.
She said that, so it's like venom.
Real venom.
It's like, Sonia, are we meant... I don't know, this is another thing we're not meant to remember.
Yeah, are we forgetting?
Sonia, bisexual Sonia.
Well, first gay, then bisexual. They've been softening her sexuality bit by bit, haven't they?
So, she was really, like, anti-Callum this week.
Yeah. God. I mean, even Whitney's kind of forgiven him full-heartedly. Ben and Callum kissed each other in front of her, and she just kind of smiled. So she's forgiven. Yeah. If only Stacey had walked in.
Yeah.
But
Stacey's on the phone again. And then hangs up.
So if she's forgiven him, then why can't Sonia? Sonia's got this real vendetta against Callum.
It's because she's single all the time.
Yeah, she's a bitch, isn't she?
But she said, no, he's all right. He's not gay, so, as far as we know, Sonia. So that'd be a kick in the tooth for Whitney, wouldn't it?
God, can you imagine?
But yeah, I mean, obviously Leo kind of thinks he's got the upper hand now and he's kind of Mr. Invincible. But there was a moment when they were having the meal together where Whitney said that suddenly he reminded her of someone from her past.
Yes, he touched her on the cheek, and it was almost like someone walked on her grave, didn't she? She suddenly went, oh, just remembered something. And Leo instantly knew what she meant.
He was getting a bit worried, but she asked him to open up about his family because she told him loads, and he said like a few things like his parents are both dead or he's grown up alone or something, but he's managed to be this great man with this career, so it's kind of like pulling on her heartstrings a bit.
Well, Whitney bigged him up as well, didn't she? She said, oh wow, you're such a brave, courageous guy. I can't believe he went through so much. And inside you're just thinking, oh God, he blames you for everything that's happening here, Whitney. So you're kind of rubbing, almost being sarcastic. In his mind, he must be thinking, you sarcastic bitch. How dare you say, like, how dare you congratulate me for something that you caused happen?
I mean, can we ask the question yet? Does Bianca know about Leo being her boyfriend? Tiff knows. There must be photos online. She
must know. Well, she knew that he was trying to get her affections. So surely she must have checked in at some point. Said, oh, hi, Whitney, how are things?
Or even like Sonia, Miss Sonia on the phone to Bianca all the time. She would have told her.
Although Sonia did hang up on Bianca, so maybe during the wedding.
Oh yeah, maybe they're fighting.
Of Tiff and Keegan. So maybe they're not talking to each other at the moment. Maybe that was a hint that basically now everyone's ignoring Bianca.
until 5 years' time when she comes back again. But yeah, that Bianca hole is still
That's not very kind.
still an issue.
I mean, some men have called her that, but don't be so cruel.
But yeah, I'm assuming she just doesn't know about Leo, and that's just something we don't question anymore on this show.
Another recon.
Right, last up on the week is Chantelle and Gray, the dark storyline. And she's sort of found her voice this week through like a few different things that have happened. Where obviously last week Denise told her about the fight, but then Jack like reconfirms exactly what happened, all the details, leaving nothing out.
Yeah.
That there was like teeth missing and a broken nose, and Gray started the fight rather than the other way around.
Yeah, so I've just thought of a really good name for Jack. Jackie Leaks. That's what I'm going to start calling that chap.
He is, yeah.
Jackie Leaks.
So obviously that worries Chantelle, and he's like talking about having a baby again straight away and trying again. And everything's a bit too soon. And obviously she brings up, like, she's getting braver and she's being quite open how she's been saying things to Gray.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
For me, I think she's seen that having this child has been almost a way to manipulate Gray. And so she's now using the potential of having a child as her way of stopping him from abusing her. And I worry that this cockiness that when I use the term cockiness, I don't mean it as an insulting way or a kind of like a...
No, she's being a lot more
confident,
affirmative with her words. Like she's not, I don't know, it's really strange. Like I know she shouldn't be scared, but like in this situation, we know that they've been married, 7 years at the least? And we're assuming that he's always abused her, or pretty much always abused her. So I find it strange how like suddenly is now how she's finding her voice. I'm not really sure exactly what's triggered it. Because before, when she was pregnant, she was kind of using that as a, like, he said, "I'll never hit you while you're pregnant," which was okay. But he knows that she's not pregnant now, so I'm not sure why she's being so confident. Whether she thinks because the therapy actually is working.
I mean, he has seemed to have softened somewhat. And presumably it's from...
maybe not even softened, but he's been able to, at the moment, control it.
Yeah, he's suppressing it, I suppose, is the term. And so from what we can gather, he is actually going to see therapy and seeking therapy and having it.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. But when he turned up to therapist, she didn't seem to know anything about it.
That's true.
Was that the first session?
It seemed a bit distant, didn't it, the conversations they were having?
It was really weird.
And it looked like nothing had really progressed, because the question came up where she asked him, have you ever been physical toward anyone you know or you love? And Gray, we thought, was going to then open up in front of Chantelle and say
and
yes,
admit it.
to the woman sitting next to me, Chantelle, I have hit her, been abusive with her. But he doesn't. He talks about the time in the club, which is, in a way, I think in Gray's mind, he thought he was kind of doing the right thing by talking about that in front of Chantelle. I think for Gray, he doesn't see his abuse as the problem at that present time. He thought that Chantelle being angry at him for having that fight and not telling her about it was the problem. And so I think, in a weird way, I think Gray thought that perhaps he was doing the right thing in that therapy session. And that's why he seemed a bit surprised when Chantelle called him out on it afterwards and said, why didn't you admit that it was you abused me? Why did you keep that secret from her? And then he suddenly backtracked and said, oh, no, because I'm keeping that for a later session. I'm going to talk about that later on.
He kept saying how he finds it so hard to admit it, and it's hard enough to talk about it anyway, let alone admit that. Like, I found it strange, like, would she have said those things? Why did she not say those things in front of the therapist? Like, would that not be in a safer place to say it then?
Yeah. I mean,
you don't know, because then she might think, well, when I go home after this, it might all kick off.
This is the strange thing, isn't it? Because Chantelle seems to have this confidence when it's just a one-to-one now with Gray, but doesn't seem to have that confidence of opening up when someone else who could potentially help her as well in this situation.
Like a barrier.
And get basically Gray kind of moved away from her. So maybe because there's a really telling line at the end of their story this week where Gray asks her, will you ever leave me? Will you ever go away? And she says, no, I will never leave you. And is it weird?
There was like a lingering look, wasn't there?
But isn't it weird that Chantelle almost is, she seems almost scared that actually Gray and her might break up, and that actually Gray's got into her mind so much that in a way she thinks that her and Gray being separated would be more of a torture to her than actually staying inside the relationship. So actually Gray's kind of won, and he's ingrained herself in her. Yeah. So
what I got from that last scene was that she was his biggest thing is oh, don't ever leave me. So at the moment she's going, oh yeah, no, I won't.
But it's the way she
knows,
said it.
Yeah, but I think that's because she knows that she is going to, and actually she's reached that point where she knows she's going to, so she doesn't. That's why she's saying these things to him, I guess, because she knows in her head she's already left. She's out of the door. She's already left. She's already checked out, and that's why she's feeling able to say all these things to him, I guess.
See, I don't think she is. I think the way she said it in my interpretation was that she can't leave him because she doesn't think she doesn't know any better. She's been in this tortured relationship, this abusive relationship for so long that Gray's actually ultimately won. Because when she said, you know, I'll never leave you, and she leaves, Gray kind of breathed a sigh of relief. And for me, I think it wasn't a relief because she said she wasn't going to leave him because she loved him, but because he's won. And so even though she's playing these games with him where she's saying, I'm going to go out when I want to, and I'm going to get my job back at the hair salon, and I'm going to, you know, have my own independent life, and I'm only going to get pregnant again if you promise to keep going to see the therapist and you're honest with her. And I think Grace started to worry, or maybe she
but the fact she's still there is
the fact she's still there, and
win.
And yeah, he's still got that hold on her, and so ultimately he is still the winner in this relationship. He's still better. But I mean, I think it's a shame that that's my interpretation of it, and I hope dearly that your interpretation is better, and that it is actually that she is checked out and she's ready to go, and she's just waiting for the opportunity now to go.
Yeah, but the thing is whether she will get that. I mean, it's a slight spoiler. A few minutes.
Yeah, skip.
Just for a theory. Obviously we know Keanu's leaving. So if Keanu leaves, he doesn't die. I'm wondering if this storyline with Chantelle and Gray is going to end up with him actually killing her by beating her by accident. Chantelle.
What's that got to link with Keanu?
Well, only because if Keanu leaves and he lives, I think that will happen, because I don't think they'll kill two of Karen's children, like one after the other.
Right.
So on the proviso that Keanu leaves safely, I could imagine this storyline ending a bit like that, because like the scene of her walking out the house in all done up with like the street lamp, and she was all confident, he was staring at her. I sort of got vibes of a bad ending for her.
But not for a while then. You're not saying this is happening at Christmas time. You're saying this is happening
like,
a year, 2 years down the line.
9 months or something like that. Yeah. But I could see like a dark end like that.
9 months, a time someone can get pregnant and have a child.
No, none of that. But I hope I'm wrong, because I love Chantelle. I think she's a great character, but that could be that dark ending that we could see, maybe. But only if Keanu doesn't die.
It'd be interesting if they don't give Gray and Chantelle a happy ending, because with a lot of times with an abusive storyline, there is ultimately a happy ending for the abused and not for the abuser. And
like the way it happens normally, like the abuser will get caught,
or die,
and then come back and then die in like an explosion.
Yeah.
It's like that's not how this always ends, really.
Yeah, I agree. And it'd be nice to do it where, not nice obviously to see, but it would be nice if they portrayed it for the story that the abused, so Chantelle in this case, actually ends up being the one who dies to the hand of Gray. Ooh, what a real dark story that would be.
That's just a prediction, but only if... I can't imagine they'll kill Keanu at Christmas and then have Chantelle... Like, they're not going to have Karen lose two children. I just don't see that. But...
Although all the Owens went in 1 year.
That's true. Yeah. Big mistake that was.
But if there's a 10:30 time slot for Christmas, then I'm hoping for a Keanu bloodbath. I want a Kill Bill style death for Keanu. You heard it here first.
Sharon in a yellow jumpsuit.
Oh, that'd be great.
Right, that was the week's done and finished. Wraps up. So we're going to go on to all your guys' comments and our results of who won the week.
You know me, I ain't one to gossip.
So, as we always end the show, we are going to read out the comments that you've written on our Twitter, our Facebook and our Instagram pages. We're also going to reveal the results of our Who Won the Week. But, as always, we read out from Ben the birthdays, the death, and who has won previous years on EastEnders when we asked Ben to crawl out of his time hole and give us some deets.
That's right. We're reading 1 birthday and 0 deaths this week in the history of EastEnders.
My goodness, they really do narrow them down by the end of the year, don't they?
So, birthday is 24th of November 1962. Zainab Masood was born.
Oh, that's nice. That's a nice birthday.
No one's around to celebrate her, though, really, are they?
No.
So the episode I watched was the 22nd of November 2001. And yes, I hear you ask, you can see a clip of this episode on our Facebook and our Twitter, where I've put together a few scenes that sum up the episode in about a minute and a half.
Yeah, it's really cool. Go and check it out.
And it was a very interesting episode that I picked this week because it has huge parallels to what's happening right now with Shianu and the baby Phil and all that sort of stuff, because it's the time of year when Louise was born and Mark apparently is the dad and Phil's obviously the real dad, but no one knows it's a big secret. And the only people that do know is Sharon and Lisa. And they were gossiping about it, and Jamie overheard the night before, but they're not sure if he did overhear.
I like Jamie. I forgot about Jamie.
He's very good. He's playing the Mel Owen of 2019 during the storyline.
Yeah, fair enough.
Who's there to blackmail them. But it's just so interesting seeing it reversed, that Sharon's the one who knows, but she's trying to keep it secret, and Lisa doesn't want it coming out. And obviously now we've got Sharon, who's got this baby that isn't Phil's, who thinks it is Phil's, and Lisa's the one who knows that it's not.
The shoe is on the other foot.
So it's very interesting. It shows kind of how like hypocritical Lisa is as well. Like she's done this before, this exact situation. She was willing to lose everything to lie to Phil. So that it's interesting.
It'd be nice if Sharon did bring that up. I hope they do kind of have Sharon bringing up the line saying, "I did this once for you, Lisa."
Yeah,
so
keep this, drop it.
Yeah, just keep this, because then that would also stop the whole Lisa going mad story, and that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
It would be good. And it was nice because Jamie sort of brings the ultimatum to Lisa a bit how Mel brought the ultimatum to Sharon recently, but obviously ended in different ways. But he threatens, and says, "You've got to tell Phil what I do. He's always wanted one more kid. He wants to be his."
Phil always wants one more kid.
I know, always one more.
Always one more. Always wanting more.
So I am hoping that this will be referenced this year, because it's even the same time of year it's happened. It's so strange.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true.
But I thought that was interesting. But there's little clips all together that show the story.
Yeah, find them on Twitter and our Facebook group page. I'll give you all the details at the end of the show.
That's right.
Thank you very much, Ben. So, as per, it's Who Won the Week, where we ask which of these 4 stories you think had surpassed any other story on the soap this week. And the 4 choices were Ben's Slapped Straight.
Oh, no.
Wow.
No.
Leo Susses Jack.
No.
Keegan's Cash Strapped.
No.
Or Old Man Mac's Proposal.
Oh, God. Oh, I don't know. None of them. Hollyoaks won the week this week.
I think you made your voice known about your opinion on EastEnders this week. I don't think it was all that bad. So I think it's obvious who's won the week. We've got boycotted again.
Oh, was it Ben again?
We got boycotted by Ben Mitchell on Twitter. He so basically Ben Slapped Straight won with 70% of the vote. So to make it the more interesting part is the bottom end of the vote. The bottom is always the most interesting. So I'm going to ask you.
Ben would know.
He certainly would. So I'm going to ask you who you think came second and third, because they're the 2 tightest. They were literally 1% between them.
I'm assuming Ruby came last, so Leo and the other one. Keegan.
Yeah, Leo came second with 12%.
He's going up.
Keegan came third with 11%.
Oh dear.
And Old Man Mac's Proposal was last with 7%, which I'm not really surprised, to be honest with you. It's Max Branning. And
no, it was very good, was it?
I didn't mind the Leo story personally.
No,
I didn't mind
the
Keegan.
results, it's all very low.
Well, yes, but I mean, any story when Ben's involved is going to be rocket straight to the top.
Apparently, Ben's been in every episode for the past 9 weeks. That's a lot.
He's the new Mick, isn't he? A few comments. We're going to blast through these because I think we're overrunning a little bit. So first of all, we'll talk about the Bills and the Martin. Cindy Calloway on our Facebook said these scenes in the Bill house, especially when Martin found out Callum wants to be a copper, were worthy of a Christmas episode. They were great.
They were. Nice Beale meal.
And yet you moaned about the Ben Slapped Straight story.
Yeah, that story's stupid, but I like the Beale meal.
At HA Sun R, or Hannah on Twitter, says it could have been so easy. Prison for Stacey for attack on Phil. No need for all this made up stuff.
It would do much better. Shove her in a cell with Chrissy Watts.
Yeah.
That'd be a better storyline, wouldn't it?
Loved it. That would have been cool, actually, if they'd done a prison story like they did with Mick.
But better, because it's women, and they're better anyway.
It'd be like a bad girl spin-off. At Mary R. Cam on Twitter said, Kathy, a slap just isn't good enough. A hard punch, I would applaud. You go, girl. Plenty of fight left in you.
Well, Martin did the punch at the end of the week for her.
He did, but it couldn't have been a very hard punch because he was coming out, he was very drunk. Just downed half a bottle of rum. He wasn't really thinking straight, was he? He was shouting at cars.
Slimline rum.
I thought he was going to get knocked over on the same street that he knocked down old Jamie.
He nearly did.
That would have been comeuppance, wouldn't it? Wonder if Sonia would have been so sad about that. Chantelle and Gray stories. Sophie Martin on Facebook said, I'm really proud of Chantelle for standing up to Gray and living how she wants to live, but I am scared for her. The build up to whatever will eventually set him off is killing me. Rob Innes on Facebook said, probably one of the most gripping stories EastEnders have done in years. There's not many stories where you are as nervous every scene it features in.
You do get nervous when you see them
you do.
together, especially when they're on their own.
Frightening. And also when Chantelle walks away as well and you just see his look. Like, oh, she's in trouble. And one last comment on Twitter this week from EastEnders Soup 1 said, this week's episodes have been superb so far in my honest opinion. Yes, the Karen thing was a bit easy, but the stop and search stuff is really important if you live in London and you're black or Asian.
That was like the only decent storyline, to be fair.
The one you said you didn't... Again,
yeah, the Keegan one was, I agreed that was good.
It was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the rest is just, wow.
Well, again, we're split with our opinions. What are your opinions on
That's
the week?
The point.
Exactly. What a boring show it would be if we both agreed on everything. So we'd love to know what your opinions have been on the show. Here are the ways to get in touch. On Twitter, you find us on @EastEndersWeek. On Instagram, you can find us EastEnders Weekly Podcast. If you go to Facebook and search EastEnders Weekly Podcast, you'll find a group will pop up. Click to join and you'll be more than welcome with open arms to join our community. You can also find us on YouTube. EastEnders Weekly Podcast is what you search. If you find us, subscribe, ring the bell, and you get notifications every time you get our spoiler cast every Tuesday and our original content. As I said earlier on the show, we have a character tier list on there, and it's good. If I do say so myself. Pinches his shirt and pulls it out from away his body. You can also email us if you want. eastendersweekly@gmail.com. You can find us on all your podcasters, including Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify. And if you do listen to us on Apple, don't forget to rate us and give us a comment, because every little bit of it helps. And as always, subscribe on all of those too.
Lovely. Right, my foot spa's just been delivered, so I'm off.
Have a great week, everyone.